If you were, I see where you had expressed the interest. Yeah. Oh, I know, I know.
Oh.
Yeah.
I did.
I gotta go. Oh. I did sign Yep. What? Oh, you're dating story last night. I'm looking at why I think maybe you just black and resting the prison there. But I was during that. You should see this. I was on 3 floors. Wow. They were all about 7 people up.
Oh, I know.
You don't get too close to that guy.
Does it bite?
Yeah, he kind of. Yeah. Every day,
You guys.
pretty late in the legislative season. Are you talking about the state AG? The AG? Steve? Yeah, he's
that was not a bill, it's a code. We know that from
we're talking about what? Yeah, it's now statute. It wasn't here.
Yeah, it's not, yeah.
No, but we have House bill for now, it's set. It's called, so. But 11. I want to give them one check. Honestly, that's what I think. I think it's probably sick. I asked. So, yeah.
We'll run down the hall.
I think everybody's gonna run. I'm gonna take a chance.
That's always scary.
Yeah.
No, Gary's sick.
Oh, you see? Sister's got COVID, her whole family, she's out all week.
I'm here to see
What's that?
my little neighbors here.
Yeah, that's nice. We have everybody?
So Gary is
Sick.
so we're gonna have to postpone that. So that'll give you 20 minutes back, Jim.
Yeah. Good morning, please, or good afternoon, please rise. Join me in a moment of silence. And join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. Thank you. Call our roll. I'm present. Dr. O'Neill.
Present.
Mr. Heater.
Present.
Mrs. Bales. Mrs. Barnes Griffin. Mr. Urban.
Present.
Mr. Webb.
Present.
Thank you. We have adjustment to the agenda. Mr. Moore is not well this evening, so we will get Longfellow back on the agenda as soon as possible, and hopefully we'll get Gary well as soon as possible. So, Dr. Kwiatkowski.
Well, good afternoon, almost good evening, right? I wanted to just give a couple updates. The first, last night I had the pleasure to go to the City County Council meeting where they recognized citizen recognition, and good old Chuck Reynolds and his wife Rhonda were both recognized. So well deserved. All of us know Chuck. So people in the audience, if you don't know Chuck, he has the deepest commitment to Muncie, loyal, caring, strives for excellence. It is just a pleasure to work side by side, Chuck. I am thankful every single day for him, and I just was very pleased that the City County Council recognized you last night. So congratulations, Chuck. Rhonda was also recognized. They make their dynamic duo, so a great team. We also, this week at our high school, were able to share some information or some resources for students. So the first, we had our counselors work together to come up with a mental health resource guide. So students have been saying if they are having mental health issues, where can they go for help? So we were able to pull together places around Muncie, as well as there's some national sites that they can go to, as well as people who are in the building that support kids in a variety of ways. And so that can be, we also then put that on our website, so anybody that's interested can go to under students and parents, I believe. Andy, you'll have to make sure I remember that correctly, and you'll be able to find that. The same place on our website, under the students and parents, we have a form that's called Ideas and Concerns. So this is a way that we can hear from anybody. If you have ideas, we're always about innovating and being the best we can be. And so please share your great ideas with us. Or if there's some things that we can get better at and you have concerns, we also believe in striving to be the best possible. So you can go there and find that form. It goes into Cindy and Andy, and they then share it with all the appropriate people. We shared it with our high school students today, and we quickly had a few fill it out and let us know that our SROs are making sure students don't stay in the bathroom too long, that they need to get to class, and they had a concern about that. So that's not our concern. We think that's good. We want them in classrooms. And then finally, Julie Snyder's here, who is she's one of our fantastic government teachers, but she also then is, she chairs our Student Advisory Council. And we've been working on a feedback loop to be able to have students share information with the council, as well as be able to give regular updates for what's happening. And our learning management system, Schoology, we have worked to be able to put a resource where that can take place. And Julie will be overseeing all of that for our kids. So another good way of making sure that we can have that good feedback loop from all different stakeholders. We had last week, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we had e-learning. So some may say, why did we have it on Wednesday when we had rain? We did not know when the weather was going to hit. And then we also know that substitutes this year has been challenging for us. And with the number of other districts that closed on Wednesday, we knew that we would have teachers who live in other districts that have kids that would have to take off to be with their children. And that would have made our schools not safe if we tried to be in place. So that is why we had e-learning on Wednesday. Thursday and Friday continued, and we really had some good reports from good lessons and good things happening. Mark your calendars for April 14th at the field house from 4 to 6 for kindergarten and our pre-K enrollment. So we're going to start advertising about enrollment coming up for next year. I also, on Saturday, we had our Black History celebration. Rhonda Ward always does a fabulous job of getting things organized for that. We heard students who had award-winning essays, and I was just so proud. It was from students across Delaware County, but of course I always think our Muncie students do best. And I was very proud to see Jim Williams, who was honored at the MLK celebration. And so he always gives to the community in such a humble fashion. So I want to congratulate him with that as well. And the very last thing I'd like to say, there was a study that came out by Purdue. They were charged to oversee or to study the On My Way pre-K that the state has in place. And the report just came out that shows high quality pre-K programs are beneficial for students. We are proud that we now have pre-Ks in all of our schools. And this study just confirms our belief that all children deserve to have a high quality pre-K experience. Back to you, Jim.
Thank you. Any questions for Dr. Fikowski? Okay. At this point, we will proceed to public comment. Mr. Hyatt?
I'm up first. Go for the bottom of the list there, Mr. Williams.
Mr. Hyatt, your turn.
All right, Chris Hyatt, Muncie, Indiana. I just wanted to once again inquire about the medical professionals that apparently were the basis of the Muncie Community Schools masking policy. For the third time now, I've kind of inferred or requested that maybe they make their appearance and put on record their professional opinions regarding that, since that's what they have been referred to as the basis of the policy. And I'm disappointed that they aren't here, and maybe the board could arrange.
They've been busy. I mean, they're treating a lot of COVID cases. So they
This
have
is
things
pretty
to do other
important.
than to respond to you.
And maybe a pediatric psychiatrist could be addressed as well regarding masking issues. And that's about basically all I have to say. I would like to add that, I've been to enough meetings now to realize that this statutory arrangement for the governing of the school is not something that seems to serve well the school system. We have a group of appointees that are pretty much like-minded, it appears, and nobody, at the risk of potentially upsetting somebody or disagreeing with one of their colleagues, is willing to step up and take a position on right or wrong regarding this thing. So it'd be wonderful if somebody on the board would throw out a motion to rescind this masking policy, and just let's put it on the record, who would vote for it or against it.
Mr. Hyatt, we appreciate your time and your input. Do you have anything else?
No, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Arnold?
Jim Arnold, Muncie. Let me repeat that I'm not a domestic terrorist, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, and I'm not a racist. I am a concerned citizen who should not be treated like a fly in the ointment, and I respectfully ask that you hold your responses and allow me to complete my pre-timed 3 minutes of comments without interruption. In a Star Press article dated November 17th, 2021, MCS Superintendent Dr. K was quoted as saying that Muncie Community Schools would continue ongoing diversity, sensitivity, and implicit bias training of all MCS staff, including monthly reporting of all such activities to the MCS Board. In accordance with the Indiana Access to Public Records Act 5-14-3-1, I'm requesting an opportunity to obtain copies of all printed and digital documentation related to all MCS ongoing diversity, sensitivity, and implicit bias training for the 2020-21 and 2021-22 school years, and all printed and digital community documentation pertaining to the monthly reporting of such activities to the MCS Board. Current legislation being considered in the State House seeks to ban the teaching of critical race theory in Indiana. The MCS Board claims that CRT is not being taught at Muncie Community Schools, but inquiring minds want to know. Please let me continue. I am concerned that the ongoing diversity, sensitivity, and implicit bias training of all MCS staff might predispose teachers to interject critical race theory or other divisive doctrines in their teaching. The requested information is in the public interest and will contribute significantly to the public's understanding of whether or not CRT or other divisive doctrines are being taught in the Muncie Community Schools Corporation, and will allow for transparency regarding these issues. And on a separate note, I point out that the board indicated upon implementation of their mask mandate for the current school year that they would review this policy on an ongoing basis. Studies have shown that masks don't work, that they impede the learning of speaking skills and social skills, that they cause depression, and that they may lead to increased suicides, especially among young girls. In other words, they do more harm than good. My question is, when will you end this ill-advised policy of abusing Muncie Community School students? And I might also notice that the cloth masks are less effective. A lot of you are wearing cloth masks instead of the ones that you prescribed for us to wear. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Arnold.
And here's my FOIA request.
Thank you. Ms. Leah Duke?
I tried to get this within 3 minutes. I'm
If you'll
sorry.
put your mask over your nose and mouth, please.
Okay. This is just excerpts from an article called Masking Children, Tragic, Unscientific, and Damaging. It's by a PhD epidemiologist from Oxford University, Paul Alexander. Children do not readily acquire SARS-CoV-2. They do not readily spread it to other children or teachers. They do not readily endanger parents or others at home. This is the settled science. In the rare cases where a child contracts COVID, it is very unusual for the child to get severely ill or die. Evidence is accumulating about the potential harms of mask use. For example, the CDC, back in February 2021, reported that masking may impede breathing, which can trigger a variety of other problems, including acute anxiety attacks in susceptible individuals. These harms are even more likely to occur to children, particularly smaller children. A very recent publication stated that face masks become non-consequential and do not function after 20 minutes due to saturation. As soon as they become saturated with the moisture in your breath, they stop doing their job and pass on the droplets. A doctor, Europe's leading neurologist, Dr. Margaret Brisson, says she went on record stating, the rebreathing of our exhaled air will without a doubt create oxygen deficiency and a flooding of carbon dioxide. We know that the human brain is very sensitive to oxygen deprivation. There are neurons, for example, in the hippocampus that cannot survive more than 3 minutes without an adequate supply of oxygen. Oxygen deprivation can cause metabolic changes that are vitally important for cognitive functioning. Symptoms of this are headaches, drowsiness, dizziness, reduced ability to concentrate, and reductions in cognitive function. Given that the development of neurodegenerative diseases can take years to develop, then what are the potentially damaging effects of the use of masks, especially in children when masks are used over the majority of their day? If the harm outweighs the benefits, then we cannot in good conscience advocate for mask use. However, the continual and stressful impacts of masking will also have a known and harmful impact on the immune systems in children. A child exposed to nature has little defense, unexposed to nature has little defense against a minor illness. Preventing children from such interactions with nature and germs can and does lead to overwhelming infections and serious consequences to the health and life of a child. We might be setting up our children for future disaster when they emerge from societal restrictions fully and with no masks, to then be at the mercy of normally benign opportunistic infections with a now weakened immune system. Concerns are being raised regarding psychological damage with potential catastrophic impacts on the cognitive development of children. This is even more critical in relation to children with special needs and those within the autism spectrum who need to be able to recognize facial expressions as part of their ongoing development. So we call on you, the school board members, to consider this and to carefully weigh the benefits versus the harms of masks to children. This really is not an issue of the science, as kids do not spread the virus readily to kids, to adults, to teachers, or the home. They do not get severely
Your
ill
time
or
is
die
up.
from this.
Ma'am, your time is up.
Can I just say one more thing?
You may.
Thank you. I'm just standing here as a concerned citizen, and there's probably going to be more people like me. And the questions...
And there are many, many people on the other side of this divide who feel differently, including medical professionals that we rely on in this community. So
what is their data? Because there's there's a plethora of data to support what I've just said, but there's not a plethora of data supporting masks.
You cited a neurologist in Europe. Neurologists are not infectious disease experts. Neurologists are trained in matters of the brain. Yes.
You know this. You know that a neurologist has no idea whether a mask is good or bad.
A neurologist is not an infectious. A neurologist does a 4-year residency or a 5-year residency on issues involving brain.
Okay.
The brain. So
okay, so I mean, can't you put it up for a vote right now? Can't you just ask this board whether they are all in favor?
This board, yeah. Is the board in favor of continuing the mask mandate? As we are?
Yes.
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 Okay. Thank you. Mr. Smackens.
3 minutes?
You do.
I'll be under 3 minutes.
That's great.
Andy here helped me with
That's Chuck.
Chuck, who's Andy? Andy's back here. Andy gave me the name of the correct name of the lawyer that wrote up the agreement with the YMCA. So that's a good deal. I still want to see a conflict of interest document that lawyer oversaw and wrote between the school district and the YMCA, since we got a one donor that kind of donates to all those parties.
That lawyer doesn't represent the Y.
Well, it doesn't really matter. You represent us, and you're giving a piece of property away.
As of right now, Todd, the agreement, the MOU that you're citing to is a statement of desire. There is no precise parameters have been set out as to what that deal entails. The Y is raising funds. The Y's goal is to raise about $26 million. Right now, they have around 10.2 or 10.3 million raised due to the generosity of a lot of people. They're a long way away. When they get closer, there will be a much more detailed description of the agreement, which involves the transfer and consideration received by MCS as a result of any departure with real estate.
So there will be a possibility that you will be selling a parcel of land to the YMCA.
There will be consideration for the benefit of the taxpayers of Muncie, including most particularly our students, as a result of this partnership.
May I also request that maybe in exchange, as opposed to selling it, that you exchange the property that they have downtown Lycanon Commons and exchange that?
I don't, we don't want that property. So somebody else may want it.
The city of Muncie does.
That's between the city of Muncie and the Y, but the board,
Because as it stands right now, that MOU did not test.
the MOU.
Very high on the conflict of interest, and you know that as a lawyer. That's why he shifted the lawyers down to Fishers at the last minute.
No, we didn't do that at the last minute. Mr. Day has represented this board since July of 2018, Todd. I've
Okay.
never represented Muncie Community Schools, ever.
Okay. You didn't claim that MOU came from you?
No,
Okay.
no, it was drafted by a lawyer for our benefit, but I appreciate your input. Thank you. Anything? So that concludes our public statements. We will move on to the consent agenda. We have minutes from January 25th. We have donations, fundraising, personnel stipend. Regarding J.D. Vance, we have the authority to prepay claims, claim approval, and we have approval of the consent agenda. So are there any questions concerning the items contained in the consent agenda?
I move to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, we will move on to board meeting dates for 2022, 2023. You have those items in your packet. Any questions, concerns, changes to the board meeting?
I just have one quick thought. Our November meeting is set for Election Day. I just don't want to deter anyone from having time after work to vote, so maybe we want to rethink the November meeting date.
Why don't we move the November date?
I'm fine with that.
That was the only thing I saw. At least I think it is.
Good catch.
What if
I
you
don't know how
moved-
much flexibility we have with
What if you moved the
breaks.
November meeting to, what's our October date, the 25th? Why don't we move it to the 15th? Okay, so we have a request to amend the schedule of meetings to change the November date to November 15th. With that change, any additional questions, concerns, changes? Hearing none, would entertain a motion.
Move approval.
All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. So that passed. At this point, we're on to dialogue of the board and future recommendations. We have summer programming, which is right now, we have over 100 kids enrolled, 100 students. So that's great, good news. Would want to applaud the work done by all of the administration and leadership on promoting that programming. It's really remarkable. Anything else?
No, the summer list, we'll bring that to the board, beginning at that March meeting is when we'll bring not only all the summer learning opportunities, but professional development opportunities for the summer as well. That's our goal.
Okay. And so Chuck, the band, state fairs when this year?
August 6th or 7th, that Friday.
Okay. And Brad, how's the work coming on the field house since we had some more bricks come down?
Believe it or not, the vendor has been working very hard, even in inclement weather. They have a process of inserting those screws into the brick to retain them into the wall, and hopefully it'll be done within a few weeks.
Okay.
And they were going all the way around the building. So.
Okay. Thank you. Any media here tonight?
I have one quick thing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just one quick thing. We have a couple of wrestlers from Central going to semi-state this weekend. If anyone is interested in sending them off before they get on the bus Friday after school, I think at 5:30, they're going to leave out the back of the high school. If anyone wants to wish them luck. I had the opportunity to go watch them this weekend, and the amount of work that our athletes put in is incredible. So to see it come to fruition and they get to go to semi-state is really cool. So I just wanted to give them a shout out, and to Coach Bradley.
And I wanted to say also, as it relates to our Muncie Central, boys basketball, they participated in the Muncie City of Champions inaugural tournament, and it was just cool to see them keep that rivalry between Muncie Central and Burris. So our boys played hard, and we got that win that night. And you would have thought they won the state because they got a trophy with a ball, and they were all like, you know, so that was really exciting. And then also to have some of our players be recognized for their service, like the DJI, the NPC, the community service awards, and all those things. So there is a lot of positivity that are happening with our students. So I'm really proud. So I'll go in that dugout tonight with the bricks getting laid. We'll go in there and watch our kids play tonight against Hilton Heights or something. But also, I just wanted to say on behalf of the Martin Luther King Dream Team, we want to say thank you to Muncie Community Schools for allowing Dylan and Rhonda to be a part of that committee, and for you always being supportive of us and giving out the awards and engaging with the families and the audience that's there. You always do a great job pronouncing all the names and kids and such. And then proud of our board chair here. She's the way she's honoring you in that manner. And always listen to him give us a little bit of history as he stands there. So just thank you all for what you do for the Martin Luther King Dreams in our team.
You're welcome. One other thing, I sent you all an email about this, but I don't think I've reported on a meeting since then. I was getting my hair cut at Sports Clips some weeks ago, and it was the lady and I were chatting, and she didn't know who I was and my connection to Muncie Community Schools, and she was saying that her daughter had left the high school she had been at previously after her sophomore year and had come to Central this year, and just said she's just blossomed. It's been such a good experience for her, the teachers, the administrators, the education she's received. It felt like a breath of fresh air to her. So it's always good to hear when you have students who are coming in from schools out in the county and coming to Muncie and recognizing everything that you all at Central, Ms. Snyder, have to offer and give. So thank you for the work you do and for all of our educators, really. So thank you all. At this point, Mr. Klotz, any media here? Okay. With that, would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, thank you.
I'll let Rhonda do that. I'm smart enough to know that.